was an amendment, the 34th Amendment to the Texas Constitution. The right to hunt, fish, and harvest wildlife. It would appear, if you read it, to have a way of attempting to try to acknowledge people that have a more natural way about them. If we're not talking about it in any sort of derivative implication, then it's acknowledging people of the land. It was added on November 3rd of 2015. The thing is it describes hunting, fishing, and harvesting. Harvesting wildlife. Is that as opposed to domesticated? But more than that, it says hunting, fishing, and harvesting, but it says nothing about trapping. Texas, especially northern Texas, has a very active community of trappers. And I come from trappers. My great uncle Bill, for instance, was an excellent fox trapper. That was how he made the majority of his livelihood. And I had my coming of age, shall we say, initiation, from my great uncle Bill, who taught me about trapping. There's a lot that goes into being a trapper. What is the distinction of a trapper from a hunter or a fisherman or fisher person or somebody that works the land and is a farmer? Trapping is very different, very specific. And like being a hunter or a fisher, or even someone that works the land, or even works with animal husbandry, right? You have to have a synergy with the animal. You have to have an understanding of the ethical and natural balance that goes into trapping. Know the terrain, know how it factors into the ecosystem, know what to do with it, what's wasteful, what is necessary, what the value is. Why in Section 34 do they include hunting, fishing, and harvesting, but they don't include trapping? I contend it is because in the state of Texas that when one engages the judicial branch of government, that in order to go through the appellate system, one must engage or can choose to engage the Texas Rules of Appellate Procedure, which is abbreviated TRAP. That's how you would list it in a legal filing. I'm going to trap with this code. Why is that not constitutionally enshrined as hunting, fishing, and harvesting, which, by the way, are not just literally about going to the natural areas to do those things in nature involving animals in a synergy between human beings and their environment, or there would be no reason to preclude trapping. You're leaving out an entire sector of the Texas ecosystem when it comes to engaging with the natural environment. Why? I think it may have something to do with another earlier amendment or Bill of Rights, which is the Section 4, religious tests. No religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust in the state, nor shall anyone be excluded from holding office on account of his religious sentiments, provided he acknowledge the existence of a supreme being. This does not say that supreme being has to be a godhead in the Judeo-Christian tradition. Could that supreme being be Satan? Can you justify your adherence to the requirements of the Texas Constitution if you are a worship, or if you worship Satan, if you're a Luciferian? If you pledge yourself and your family or somebody else's family to Satan, does that in your lexicon allow you to qualify as being constitutionally compliant with the acknowledgement of a supreme being? Is that why when one tries to trap in Texas, they're constantly subjected to religious tests of how far they're willing to go in skirting concepts of heresy against acknowledging whatever would be conscionable before God, whatever would not be an actual sin before God, whatever would not be an act of unconscionability, including child sex predation, bestiality, slavery, murder, necrophilia. But did somebody think that they were going to be smarter and that they were going to split hairs and say, we acknowledge Satan, he's the supreme being. Do you want to get in our court or not? Is that the situation here? Is that why, in order to trap, even if it's a part of your culture, you're supposed to play games as if you will acknowledge the authority of a Satanist that's holding up your capacity to achieve any rights to due process or anything else related to the Constitution? Because their supreme being is based on deception and defilement and investiture in the dark realms, harvesting the purity and the goodness of the light. And that's why their relationship with the land is so aberrant. Because if you worship God, then you're the fox or the bunny. They got you. And when your blood spills on the land, whoever's got claim to that parcel gets to claim it. Is that what this is about? Do they believe that by virtue of being Satanists, they have some super constitutional authority? And so what? In the last 5 years, they've decided to bastardize the Texas legal system and the legacy of the people of Texas by buying into Satan and trying to tell us we're supposed to keep confidential about it? I challenge you. You do not have the authority you think you do. He's not a supreme being, he's fallen.